What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today is indeed Wednesday, which means a new summit is now live here in Motorfest. Insanely enough, it's also going to be April, so happy April. But nonetheless, guys, the next part of the season is now live here, also featuring Blackpanthaa, which is probably one of the coolest things ever. It's awesome to see this guy in the game. We also have his lovely R34 here. Can't wait to see that thing. Looks absolutely insane just from that photo. Then we also have a tire here is going to be the next platinum reward. Looks pretty cool. I would say it's probably going to be pretty nice on some of the vehicles. Then we're also going to have an underglow after that, which is going to be the speed run. And then finally for the tag team summit, which is now live right now, has a pretty awesome looking underglow, which is actually, no, underglow, which is actually going to be two dragons holding controllers and looking at each other, which I have to say, no, which is actually going to be two dragons holding controllers. Now, I have to admit it, these underglows and also these vanities in these summits look pretty dang awesome compared to the previous ones in the older seasons. I have to be honest, guys, they do look pretty dang awesome. Nonetheless, though, looking at the summit right now, we're going to have mainly focused on Street Tier 2, which is actually going to be all 6 of the main events. And crazily enough, all 3 of the skills are going to be different, which is kind of funny that I even have to mention that this, no, which is kind of funny that I even have to mention that. But one thing I did notice in this summit right off the bat, though, as well, all the scoring in the summits are now going to be different unless I am tripping out on it. For example, guys, on all of the skills now, you're noticing something about the scoring. It is now going to be maxed out at 128,000, which I would say isn't going to be like a bad thing. Maybe they did this for a reason. I'm guessing they most likely did that way, people aren't going to be getting 155k every single time on it. The only issue I find with this, though, is it's probably going to make these score breaker sets a bit more useless. Going to most likely make a video on that here in the near future. But also on the first one here is going to be a Bullseye. Luckily, it's going to be in the lovely Gymkhana Grid Park. For this, guys, I did run the lovely Hoonigan Mustang, which is probably not the thing you want to run. The funny part about this, though, is if you have a score breaker set, no matter which vehicle you are running, you are most likely going to get 128k fairly easily. You're probably going to be faster, of course, in like a Red Bull, like RB, compared to like a drift car. Shocking, I would say. Probably not. But moving over to the next skill, though, is going to be a Slalom. For this, I also did end up running a drift car again. I know it's not going to be the best car, but you know what? I still got 127k, so I'm close to that maxed out score. If you are looking to go after a maxed out score, though, use something like a Hyper, even the lovely Alpha GP once again. After that, though, guys, we have a SpeedTrap, which I would say is going to be fairly simple. For this, I actually did decide to run the lovely Dodge Viper SRT10. Got over 400 miles an hour solo. Keep in mind, all the drag cars can do 430 plus. The only issue, though, you are most likely going to need, more room to do it. And to get around 440 on most of the speed traps in the summits, you are probably going to have to slipstream somebody. And then when it does come to the main events here in the summit, guys, all of them are probably going to be fairly simple in the aspect of what vehicle you can run on them. For example, in the 4 races here, I actually ended up using the exact same car, which is going to be the lovely GTR Nismo. I love this thing. Also, I'm a pretty big fan of GTRs in real life, so being able to drive it is also going to be pretty awesome. But if you are wondering, well, Block, like, which vehicles are going to be a bit better, like, what car should I run? You're probably going to notice looking at the leaderboard that the Skyline GTR is great, and also the Haru Edition is also going to be a great overall vehicle. But definitely try out the GTR Nismo. It's going to be really stable, and I would say it can actually do great on all 4 of the events here. Is it going to get you like the top score? I mean, it's possible, but at least it is going to give you a decent enough score to where you can stay in the top of Platinum, and most likely not have to worry about falling out of it. And I would say the car is going to be really good in the aspect that it can battle like the Skyline, or even something like the Horror Edition, that it is going to be good enough. And what's also kind of cool, though, is you can also get away with running the exact same pro settings on all 4 events. That way you most likely do not have to change the Nismo or like the Horror Edition, and you can pretty much get away with doing all 4 of them. Now for the top right event, though, it is going to be the lovely 350Z Roadster. Also, do not question the way my car does look in this. I do not know why I made it look like that. It was also back in the crew too, so my car is going to look kind of odd with the weird fairings on it. But nonetheless, though, I have to admit the car isn't going to be terrible. Is it the best Street Tier 2 vehicle? Well, probably not. but I wouldn't say it's going to be a terrible vehicle. Like, yes, it does handle. Is it going to be the fastest thing out there? Probably not. But I would say overall it's probably going to be fairly decent. The big thing, do not be afraid to cut certain corners to shave a few seconds off that time. And then for the final event though, you also get to drive the lovely Nissan Z, which I have to admit, the more I actually drive this car and the more I look at the Nissan Z, I'm starting to like it. Funnily enough, I also saw one on Saturday night and I was like, oh my goodness, that thing is beautiful. First one I've actually seen in person here in Florida, which is kind of odd. Like, I was expecting more people to have them. Turns out there's not a lot of them around. Could be the markup, could be the price of them. Honestly, have no idea, but in this event, though, it's also going to be a 3-lap race, and it is going to have many sharp turns and stuff like that, so do be prepared for them. Like, for example, guys, yes, you obviously want to go as fast as you can, but do be careful for those corners because they come up quick doing 180 miles an hour, and before you know it, you're like, wait a second, my Nissan Z does not go 100 miles an hour around a hairpin turn? No, it does not, but do not forget to use that e-brake. It actually does help a bit. But besides all that though, guys, the biggest thing about this summit is at least there is not going to be any powerboat or plane events. I do hate to admit this, but we are most likely going to see more of them in the future. Overall though, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Let's jump right into this.